Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shamira Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today we have a lot to harvest. Like a ridiculous amount to harvest. Probably mostly greens, but we want to get this done before the rains start. Okay guys, so right now is the time of abundance for us here in the desert. And as you guys saw yesterday, I harvested a ton of celery, and now I need to come in and get like some broccoli, some a little bit of cabbage, we have some greens. We have probably like a whole host of other things that I want to get in here too. I'm trying to do it a little bit at a time so that then I'm not so overwhelmed in my kitchen. Like I have currently more peppers on the countertop. I have a bucket of celery from yesterday on the countertop, and it's just a lot going on right now. But I want to go ahead and get a lot of this done before the rains come in, which will be this weekend, because I want to plant some stuff before the rains. So if you guys are new to my channel, how I do things are I plant in between the rains. I never have to really water anything in or do anything like that because I'm planting in between those rains. So when we have heavy rains like monsoons, winter rains, and spring rains, and fall rains, I like to plant things in there, let the earth do what it does, and then things are just great. So let's go ahead and just stop talking and get to harvesting. So guys, this right here is one of my beds out in the back part of my garden, and I want to plant some onions in this area, but I want to make some space so that then those onions get some sun when I plant them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm probably gonna leave the lettuce because I'm gonna make a salad, and I like having fresh lettuce like picked right from the garden. I already did the celery, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the greens over here. So for those of you guys that are new to my channel, I like to pick my greens at this size or sometimes a little bit bigger. And I do that for a couple of different reasons. One, the greens, these are collard greens. They are very tender at that size. If I wait until the plant gets really, really huge, then those greens are tough and they take a lot to kind of get them softened and edible. But if I pick them at that size, they're nice and they're tender. Also, I am in a small space garden, so I pack all of my crops in as tightly as possible. So it is a balance between giving things sun and making sure they have enough sun. So, and also the rain being able to soak into the dirt because it is, not getting caught up on the leaves or just being, rinsing the leaves off essentially. So I want to plant my onions in there, and I want to make sure that they get enough water and enough sun. So to keep the balance, I harvest the crops a lot earlier. So tender leaves, and I can grow way more and pack more things into a small area. So now that I have it all opened up, I know where all the little holes are that I could go ahead and plant some onion bulbs, and they will grow nicely and be ready to get big once these are ready to come out. Now the other thing I'm coming to grab over here is my broccoli. I'm a little sad that this didn't become like one of those big massive heads. There was a lot of nitrogen in here from the worms that were in here because we did not get a lot of monsoon rains. So that nitrogen was just in the dirt, and as you can see, the leaves grew ginormous. I should have trimmed them a lot earlier, but I didn't. I am gonna let that head keep growing and this head keep growing, but I'm gonna take this one. The nice part is that your broccoli is gonna put off a ton of shoots. So even if you don't get a giant head in the beginning, keep your broccoli in there. It'll keep producing, and this will produce for the next couple of months. So it's not ginormous, but the nice part is that this will keep in the refrigerator, so I can wait for that other little head to get a little bit bigger, and then I could probably make a soup because I'll have enough. So life is just about balance and being patient. So the last thing I'm harvesting over here is this cilantro. Instead of letting it go to seed, which these flowers are gorgeous, I'm gonna make a soup because I have enough cilantro to do so with this one. So I'm gonna harvest it pretty much all the way down. This one is just leggy and crazy because it was hidden in between all of the broccoli. But we have some more cilantro growing there and there. So we'll plant some more cilantro before the rains come, because that'll pop up quick and bolt quickly, because, you know, we live in the desert. Now, because I'm using this for dinner and I need probably this cilantro plus the cilantro that I have in the freezer from last year, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this whole thing. I have more cilantro growing in the garden, and cilantro literally, like, we plant it, it bushes out, and then it bolts and then you have to use it. So it's not something that lasts a long time. Now you can leave this in here and it'll turn to coriander if it goes to seed, but I don't want it in the garden that long because we like to eat it when it's like that. Now, I'm also going to be putting in some onions in this bed too, and also the okra. I know it's a little too early, but I'm already thinking about okra. So tonight for dinner, I'm making a soup, and I want to have just a lot of relaxation going on. So I'm going to make a lemon balm tea, maybe with like some fruit or whatever I have in the freezer. Maybe blackberries. Do lemon balm and blackberry with some seltzer, and that's going to be great. So I'm going to grab some of this. So if I randomly pause in the middle of talking, it's because I'm thinking. I'm trying to decide what I want to cook, how I want to cook it, and there's so many options back here. So yeah, I'm gonna go get the rest of the greens up here, because we have a lot that need to get picked up here too. So I'm gonna go through and get a lot of these brassicas. This is gonna get well mowed down. I'm gonna get a lot of the Swiss chard, because I want to freeze some this year, now that, you know, we've gone through that whole thought process of that we can freeze it. I'm gonna get some of that. I'm gonna get the kale and the collards, and then I'm also going to trim back some of this Brussels sprouts too. I'm probably going to add some of the Brussels sprout leaves into my mixed greens with my collards, just because I have extra ones, and maybe that'll help this go into like Brussels sprouts. I'm so annoyed and fed up with Brussels sprouts again. I have a feeling that if I plant them where I plant my broccoli, that I would get Brussels sprouts. But I don't want to sacrifice that spot without having like my broccoli, because my broccoli is way more important than the Brussels sprouts. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. I'm either gonna use the Brussels sprouts for the green mix, or I'm gonna use them to put in the freezer for the worms, because the worms are eating a lot right now, and I'm running out of greens that I have in the freezers, and I don't want to have to go buy store-bought greens in order to feed my little hungry worms. Do you guys see this? Look at the size of this. This is crazy. It's like, why would I grow like other different types of greens that taste like spinach, when I could grow Swiss chard and use it the same way? Because this is way more productive. When you're thinking about different things that you can put in your garden when you have a small space and you're trying to really feed your family with your small space and not go to the grocery store, think of things like this. Like, learn to cook with your Swiss chards, because this is just over producing. Like, once I cut this thing back, I'll show you guys just how many plants produce this amount of Swiss chard. Okay, now that I have some space up in here, I can see what I got going on. I have one big plant right there. I have 3 that, yes, I did not thin, but that's okay. So they grow a little bit smaller leaves. And then I have 2 that are growing the same size leaves as that one. So altogether we have 6 plants. And look at how much we got just from one cutting off 6 plants. Now guys, I would also like to mention that we have cut off this plant about 6 or 7 times already this last month, and we're to the point where we're eating Swiss chard like once or twice a week, and we're like, okay, I can't do it anymore. Like, I need a break. But the plant was just nonstop. So imagine if you had a big family but only a small space. If you're getting that many greens, you can keep your family with a good diet of greens like for a long time, because the Swiss chard will be the last greens we take out of the garden, and they probably won't even attract bugs. They just won't like the sun. Okay guys, after dealing with that mini Swiss chard and realizing that I have to process all that, I'm just gonna go through and get the kale and the collard greens. I'm gonna leave the Brussels sprouts alone. And then I'm also gonna get the mustard greens over here, and the collard greens here, and the kale here and the kale and collard greens there. So many greens. Okay, so everything looks all trimmed, and I'm left with a big giant thing of greens. So guys, this is insane. This is all that I harvested just today alone. This is crazy, and this doesn't even include the big bucket that I harvested yesterday of celery. So guys, garden harvesting always makes me a little bit emotional. Let's just talk for a minute. Might as well. You know, it was a time where I realized that we had to eat organic, and I realized that it was our food that was making us sick, and it made me feel super responsible as the person that did the majority of the cooking in the house. And I wanted to feed my family organic, but I realized that we couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford to buy what we even call organic in the grocery stores today, that a lot of times isn't even really organic, and be able to save up for land and different things like that. I don't know if it's like millennial depression at times, but I would get like severely depressed because I realized that my parents both got sick, and they were sick not because of like genetics or different things like that. They were sick because of the way that they ate and the things that they chose to eat. So I wanted to do better. And granted, that is a lot of just like education. I mean, I made it to my mid-30s before I decided to grow a garden and see the importance of growing the garden. But once I did, it's hard not to come back here, harvest your family's food, cook it, and not just want to cry because you're so thankful. Like, I really thank God for being able to have all of this at our fingertips, not having to go to a grocery store and decide how it's grown or how it's made or like what's in it, and wondering if that's going to make my family sick. I know what's on my groceries because my groceries are in my backyard and I'm the one that waters them. So I hope that this was encouraging to you guys. My curry plant is trying to take over the camera. But I hope this was encouraging to you guys, and I hope that it doesn't make you guys feel like you're not doing enough for your garden. Because guys, there was a time where I killed everything back here, like everything. I came from a family that gardened. Like, my grandmother always had a garden, and my mom always had tomatoes growing and cucumbers growing, but I was killing everything in my garden, and I just felt terrible. And now I can grow things and actually be successful with it. So if you are feeling down, if you're feeling like you are not growing enough, or are feeling like maybe you're just not getting it, just keep going, keep trying. God is going to help you and get you through it. But until next time, grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.